thanks my colleagues, the speakers, who just spoke, right? And here I am to speak again, but I don't have any slides, so you have to put up with my voice and with my words. And maybe we won't start there with words. Now, I'm a physicist by training originally, and later on I became a computer scientist. So, and there's one quote by Richard Feynman, a great physicist, celebrated teacher, Nobel Prize winner, about human behavior, right? And his quote was that if electrons had emotions, physics would be way more complicated. And I remember reading that when I was in my teens, and I decided, and at the time one of the decisions I wanted to make is, what I want to do for a living, yeah? And I said, I want to do physics, because physics is easy. Physics, I actually can understand an electron and what that is. Fast forward 30 years, and here I am, and guess what? I'm no longer doing physics. I'm no longer even doing a lot of computer science, even though that's my main job. I'm trying to now unite with my colleagues here and do a bit of ethics, right? And going back to Feynman's point, right? An electron is a short word, right? Just a few letters there. And ethics is also a short word. I mean, spoken language, English in particular, but in general other spoken languages, they can be very deceiving, right? Because an electron is something we really understand. It's a very short word. But what that short word represents is something we really understand. There's something called quantum mechanics, which is the most beautiful theory out there. If you know it, lucky you. If you don't know it, you should read about it. It basically explains to you, what an electron can do, what an electron is essentially, right? And what you can expect from it. It can tell you, where an electron may turn up and with which probability that the electron may turn up. It can tell you, if light actually hits a particular substance, what's the probability that a given number of electrons will come out of that. And it can tell you that with a lot of precision. Now, guess what? Here we're talking about ethics, and we're talking about data and ethics. It's extraordinarily more complicated, right? I know physics, I did physics, and I know how to solve partial differential equations, and I know all that sort of stuff. I wrote papers in physics. But that's really easy compared to the problem of ethics. And I have been, and Matt mentioned humility earlier here, I've been very humbled over the past couple of years in my walkings around Sydney and other places, talking to people about ethics and learning more and more about it. Well, so therefore, you have here theoretical physicists telling you that ethics is much harder than theoretical physics. So if you take that as truth for the time being, you may question whether my statement is true or not, but hopefully everyone is reasonably on board with that. But take that as an assumption that that is true, then it ought to follow from that whoever you face that tells you that they got a solution for your ethical problem, and that's the solution, you should be very skeptical about that, right? You should be very skeptical about that. If there's a single message I can leave with you today here, from my personal experience as a scientist working in this field, is that if anyone brings a closed form, canonical, beautiful solution to you for an ethics question, especially supercharged by the complexity of existing technology and the availability of data that we have today, and that person tells you, this is your path to an ethical future, and the rest isn't, and this is, that should ring alarm bells. Hopefully everyone can realize that that's important. Now, that is not to say that there aren't bad ideas out there and you should stay away from them. When you're starting in a new field, when something is emerging like data and ethics, it's very hard to say what's right to do, what's good. But it's not that hard to point out to a few bad ideas. Okay? And the reason is because there are way more bad ideas than good ideas out there. So it's just statistically and computational. So Elijah was talking about computational, complex computers, algorithms, and so it's just a matter of probability. Okay? There are more bad ideas out there than good ideas. And now what is going to happen as you start talking and learning more about ethics and data, what will happen, for sure, is that the number of ideas that you will hear about it that are bad will be higher, larger than the number of ideas that are good. So you have only one tool to filter that. It's your own brain. Yeah? You got to think. It's something that doesn't seem to be very popular these days. Right? Because there's really nothing else you can do, right? There's no tool out there on the internet that you can download, or there's no web service that you can make use of. You actually have to stop and think, to select and to judge and look at the reasons behind what people say. You can't just look at the words. As I said before, electron is a short word that starts with E. Ethics is a short word that starts with E. They have very little to do with each other. So don't take words for granted. Don't believe words. Just think. Use the words as just additional data that is there, and you need to mine it with your own brain. Don't take my words for granted. Everything I'm saying here should be questioned. Right? I mean, and the reason why I'm making this point tonight is because I used to get tired of this, but now I'm no longer tired because I just discovered that you just have to do it. Is to really focus on, I think, what probably is one of the most important questions in this area, which is to raise awareness about the fact that when we talk about ethics, there's never closing the door. There's never finishing the project. There's never shipping your product and you're done. Yes, you have to do that, because those are the approximations that we have to do in the daily lives. But if you actually want to learn how to be helpful in a world that is more and more demanding you to be ethical, because the number of things that can be done far exceeds the number of things that should be done, as was pointed out before, you actually need to question what people tell you, including what the 4 people here have been telling you tonight. That's the best tool you have. It's between your 2 ears. Never stop using them. That's it. Thanks.